things go out of hand. So let's dive into the draft here for game number 1. KT will be on the blue side. They are the home team. They theoretically have that advantage moving into this one. Let's see whether it's actually going to work out, as Gwen first pick is what they're looking for.
Yeah, and if that gets banned, Perfect can still play Rumble. It's been his best pick career, so...
He is on blue side.
He is on blue side. That's a good point. As Pantheon is going to be taken away, of course. No Wukong just yet. The Azir will follow. And let's see if KT want to ban Wukong in that final spot, or if they'll leave it over to Gen.G. As we started the discussion this week with, okay, red side teams should really consider banning Wukong, but now it's more on the blue side teams, because if you ban the Wukong on red side, then they get the first pick Yunara.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you know, then they get first pick Wukong, and then they feel really good. So it's a bit awkward for red siders here in this third ban. Yeah,
we'll see whether the Wukong is actually going to come through here, because theoretically, if it's not banned, then you can almost feel a lot better about getting your hands on the Yunara yourself. If you're able to just first pick the Wukong, picking Yunara into it does seem a little bit more difficult.
Hey, Gen.G, that's what I'm talking about, yes! We learn, we approve, we, at the end of the week, finally solved it.
Yeah, I mean, this happened, like, a lot this week already.
Yeah.
We have seen a fair bit.
But a few teams kind of not doing it.
Yeah.
But not our legend group.
We had
Gen.G.
some Rise issues yesterday, perhaps. But we're going to first pick Trundle and give Gwen away.
Yeah, with the Aurora band, with also Wukong up.
Oh, it does feel better, though, because Gen.G couldn't pick the Rumble, but KT can, because they're on blue side. So theoretically, the matchup isn't horrible.
Yeah.
And they can play Trundle Rumble, which is, you know, rhymes.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I think Gwen and Wukong has been the strongest melee topside on this patch. And I think that Gen.G would be wise to take it. They could go for Xin Zhao if they prefer that.
It doesn't feel great into Trundle.
But why would you do that when you could just play Wukong? Wukong is not a counter to Trundle by any means, but it is not a matchup that the Trundle necessarily feels great about. You still get some real value out of the Subjugate, but sometimes you kind of get knocked into the air. They don't have to grab it here because the Trundle's already locked in, so they'll prioritize the Talia. And no Azir here, but we'll see what BD's answer is going to be the Talia, because since you already locked in the Trundle, the Orianna doesn't feel very good. As Perfect is just going to throw a bit of a curveball and take the Ambessa. This has been such a common response to the Gwen. And it's been polarizing because it looks horrible when you fall behind, but when you get ahead, it's definitely playable. Very high value into backline. You know, with teamfights where you get access to the backline. And they'll go for the Vi, actually, instead of the Wukong here, once they see the Ryze and the Ambessa playing a little bit more towards the front side, instead of going to necessarily play like more peel and just kind of go toe-to-toe with Gwen and brute force your way through.
Not to mention the 1-2 punch. No pun intended, of the Talia Vi is very, very
crazy strong. And usually this duo isn't up. So,
yeah.
Like, I was thinking about Wukong Gwen, but kind of,
honestly,
this is busted Talia Vi.
Yeah, the Wukong Gwen would have been fine as well. Wukong doesn't have the greatest time into the Trundle, but it's all right. I don't think they're too worried about it, because Vi just kind of works, you know? You press your R button, someone dies. It's generally how it works if you do have enough follow-up, and I think that Gen.G will have that.
This draft just becomes so simple for Gen.G now, with the obvious fact that their composition has a ton of front-loaded damage, but also pick potential with the Weaver's Wall setup that you can then use to try to get a shove and a Vi engage. It's very difficult to play objectives if you are KT. What KT do have, though, is that additional power of the global in this Ryze. That can get them in or out of team fights. Talia, similar story, but can't move the whole team around. They take away a safe pick in the Xayah and a lane bully in the Lucian. The Sivir, great ban. Kai'Sa, amazing with what Gen.G has. And this is where things get a little bit more interesting. Varus is, of course, banned already. Yunara is already gone.
Yeah, there's six 80 carry bans, so a lot has been taken away.
Could just play Jhin, I guess, and...
I mean, Jhin is the next tier list pick, but
I mean, you have a lot of
a Caitlyn or a Jinx or something as well.
Yeah, you have a Vi, Talia, but if you had Wukong, I'd feel better about the Jhin. It's a little bit more sturdy of a front line. The Corki is going to be the option. It is blind, which is quite uncommon to see with the Corki, but very safe pick and wins a lot of lane matchups and will spike at 2 items right when your composition is really starting to come online, when your Gwen is starting to become more of a menace in team fights. So,
what is Doc Dom going to do? That's the question.
Yeah, with Wei here, Hasn't been the strongest 2v2 presence. Looking a lot better with Peter in that regard. And Peter's best days, that is to say.
Yeah.
Rolster hasn't seen a look in this draft just yet. The Jhin has worked really well with Trundle and Mbessa in the past because the Trundle sets up a pillar, makes it really easy for Jhin to follow up. Same with the Mbessa. And when the Mbessa gets on top of somebody, Jhin can follow up. Rel is not in a great spot, in my opinion. It depends on your comp. This comp doesn't have a lot of combo power with it.
Like, they needed engage. I guess this is fine, but it doesn't make me feel, oh yes, this is what
I would have rather seen Nautilus, because at least you can press R on Corki. So
yeah.
That would have felt pretty okay. Vi is similar situation, but see what this final pick will be here in the bottom lane. As Alistair's still up.
Yeah, I think Dura maybe just is a cow. Nico is available as well.
I mean, this just means this lane that maybe Duckdown was thinking was going to be okay is now kind of a rough one that he's not going to have a lot of fun in. And it's just more engage for this comp that already has so much of it. The pick potential is high. The Nico is not a traditional like melee engage champion, but can give you a lot of power as Gwen. If anyone gets rooted trying to close the gap onto Ruler, who already has an escape as well, then they're probably just going to get blown up. If you get rooted, then you get seismic shoved and you die. And the Vi ultimate is just not even a factor in those types of situations. I look at the Trundle here and I think Corki doesn't care. If you're trying to pillar a Talia, you're going to get shoved and blown up. Nico is not going to be the one who you catch with that. And these first pick Trundles, I think, have really been punished a lot by some of our best teams. Blind Trundle, not infallible. And I think this draft for Gen.G can kind of run circles around it.
I think they should be able to. We'll see whether KT can come out swinging. There are, like, I mean, it does have some explosive potential. I'm just very worried about that bottom side of the map because already Wei's debut wasn't exactly what we wanted. It was, unfortunately, what we expected, but it just didn't really hit home their first time of asking. So this is going to be very, very difficult if they are going to play through that bottom side of the map. I think waiting for a lane swap is going to be aim of the game here, and Reliance pretty heftily here on Perfect and BDD to make these lanes work. See how it goes. We jump into the Rift for game one.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the Rift for game number one. Gen.G and KT facing off. KT with blue side. I don't know whether they necessarily got the maximum value out of blue side. Of course, these first pick Trundles have been hit or miss. Sometimes it works. We have seen Trundles be completely ridiculous. But this doesn't feel like a big hit for me. Especially when there was like, even Wukong was available.
Yeah,
like, that's the crazy part. Of course, like people don't like picking it into the Trundle, but he has so much utility that I don't think Canyon would have really minded. He just sort of picked his poison, decided that the Vi was going to be the choice.
Well, now you can use it as a draft edge. If you end up losing this game as Gen.G, you have blue side, and then you still have the Wukong available. So there's so much flexibility there.
Yeah, the Yunara question mark is still a big deal.
Yeah, exactly. So those both still being open means we kind of reset in that. Again, that's assuming a Gen.G loss. So that's, you're already feeling pretty good that probably end up in game two where red side again. All that aside, I think you really kind of summarized it quite well in that BDD and Perfect really need to have great game plans, or rather great game performances. We know the game plan, which is to win lane as best as you can. Not necessarily at level 1 here for BDD, but the Mbessa into the Gwen has been such a skill-based matchup. It's been like many of our matchups we've seen into the Gwen, like Jack's Gwen, where you absolutely can win. But if you're playing against Keen and your nameplate says Perfect, it's a lot of confidence, I would say, to expect that this one is going to go well.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficulty. As Ruler and Duro doing exactly what this composition is going to do, and that is win lane, shove, harass, and generally have a good time. This is going to be lane swap waiting room for KT for the majority of the time. Just 100%. Try your best to get as many minions as possible.
They could have just gone toe-to-toe with Engaged and picked Nautilus, but they're like, nah, let's just pick Nico because it wins automatically, by the way.
Yeah, and KT could have picked Nico themselves.
Yes.
Which might have been okay. That being said, I mean, I think Leona was already up, and Leona Corki would probably actually be kind of all right in the lane anyway. So it was never going to be a great time here for KT, bottom side of the map. Unless they went Caitlyn Lux or something, like did something ridiculous, but they needed Engage, so they couldn't do that.
Yeah, Jin in this draft too is really so reliant on this Ambessa being relevant. And if we see Perfect fall behind, it becomes a lot more difficult for Duckdom to play the game because Jin, as we've talked about so much, which is why at many metas where we haven't really had that strong bruiser top laners, you have been a big Jin hater because it's like, well, I mean, this champ isn't really an AD carry. They have a comp that has a Trundle and an Ambessa, so Jin definitely can get work done. And is a little bit less immobile, technically, with like a Rise to help him out, but again, if Perfect falls behind and this Gwen is just bullying him, and he can't even really enter team fights, then the Jin doesn't work. Yeah, and it's not Duckdom's fault in that case, but it is how it is.
He is still Jin. And, you know, I've tried to turn a new leaf, you know, to like open my heart to Jin possibilities, you know. And it's sort of worked. I'm less against it.
Yeah,
still
it's
just
been better recently.
He doesn't feel like a champion that does a lot of damage, you know, as the game goes on. You know,
it's not satisfying when you clean up a team fight.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hold on, reloading. Yeah. I'll get there.
And, like, you see Sivers getting more and more items, and you know, like you've seen, there's examples of this champion will just kill everyone if we wait late enough. Seismic Shove not going to quite find BDD here. Like, Jinx is another point there. Even Caitlyn can do it. Like, there's a lot of champs that can get stuff done. Speaking of Duckdom, I mean, his Aphelios is one of those.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Although it wasn't the other day because his gun management was horrific.
Yeah, the gun management was a slight problem. The cow that flew out of the river also.
Yeah, I felt really bad though because I was quoting Dracos and I was like, oh yeah, Dracos really loves how he controls his guns, and then he just basically messed it up all game.
Yeah, he like had Caliber out half the time in team fights. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Duckdom Aphelios I've come to love and rant about.
My favorite was like hitting a 4-man ult with Gravitum Severum, which just doesn't do anything. Yeah. It was ungood, but it's all right. We'll see whether he does get his hands on an Aphelios later on in the series. Maybe he can make up for it. I mean, we know that he can definitely do better.
If you compare all those champions you mentioned, the Aphelios, the Jinx, Zeri, etc., to Jin, let's just say Jin's not really in the top 3. I don't have the numbers, but I can pretty confidently say I don't think he's in the top 3 AD carries for pentakills.
I don't know.
I just don't think so.
Yeah. Have we ever seen one?
That's a good question that I don't have the answer to, but maybe...
It might have happened. Like, I mean, we've seen, like, Jins get really fed in the early game, so maybe he just, you know, runs after them while he's reloading and kills the last 3 people, you know?
It would be funny if we just get the update in like 5 minutes, so like actually Ruler is the only Jin player who has a pentakill or something like that.
I think that's the truth.
I feel like it would be Guma who has it, you know?
If anyone was to have one over the last few years, it would definitely be Guma, but I personally don't remember it.
No, same.
Maybe there are some T1 fans that remember and they're like, oh, these idiots, they don't know one of the most memorable moments in League of Legends
remember,
history.
we were talking about Aphelios, I remember the first pentakill in the LCK for Guma on Aphelios, which I think was actually in a T1 Gen.G matchup.
Ooh, I forgot that it was against Gen.G.
Yeah.
That was back when it was truly 200 years.
Yeah. That was a very Aphelios favored meta. Like, Aphelios was often first pick on blue side back then. About it. Crazy how things have changed. That was when Gale Force was a thing.
Oh, God.
Oh, no, this is an Atlas Wolf cast where we're talking about the past.
Yeah, no, exactly.
4 years ago, remember this thing? The lane swap actually here for Duro and Ruler, as they want to take Perfect out of the game, which, when you think about it, like you were talking about how it's a tough matchup for Duckdom away, like kind of unplayable, but if they can just make this unplayable for Perfect, all those things I was talking about, yeah, he might fall behind the skill-based matchup to Gwen. Well, he's certainly not going to be getting ahead if he is laning into Corki Nico.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true. I assume Gen.G kind of did this, like, to guess, like, to catch the lane swap, right? Like, off a reset, we're going to head towards the top side of the map. They can play around the grubs as well. Drake was actually taken very early here by Cuz, while we were reminiscing. So that's actually a big pickup and very early as far as the Drake take is concerned. So Cuz going to be off to the races there.
Look at the timing of this back here for Keen in the bottom lane. Crashes a wave. Some CS will be lost here for Perfect as the swap comes through the top side here for Duckdom away. And Grubs aren't up for 30 seconds, so Ruler and Duro get a free back here. Keen will get the same. Doesn't have teleport, but doesn't need it because he has the crash. So that tempo advantage they got from the faster lane swap not only hurts the Ambessa, who's now 20 CS behind, but will still give them the opportunity to contest Grubs here in 15 seconds. This is Gen.G macro at its finest.
And it's just controlling the tempo of the game, right? This is what happens when you have this winning bottom lane matchup. You get to move first, you get to crash the wave, they have to spend the extra time, and we talk about tempo vibes a lot. This is just tempo.
Yeah,
exactly. They just have the regular good old tempo. They also have the tempo vibes as well.
Yeah. Despite my
really
attempts,
what we're talking about.
Despite my attempts during the key points of the match to try to maybe swing it the other way.
Unfortunately, tempo vibes do not listen to narrative.
No, the key points also were very clearly on the Gen.G tempo vibes side.
Yeah.
The Wolf is saying maybe it's an upset, but the stats and everything else that's on the screen is saying otherwise. Well, I mean,
if you want to look at positives, do you see any deaths for KT?
No.
Yeah.
They have a dragon lead, and they have Cryo on Grubs for a moment.
They have taken infinity% more objectives than Gen.G so far this game. Is never mind, Duro's going to come in, finds a double Pod Blossom. Dr. is able to get some shots off, but that is still first blood onto the enemy jungle. Immediately answered there as BDD does get a kill, but down goes Wei at the same time, and Gen.G are going to alleviate that whole issue when it comes to the feats of strength things, as not quite the skill there. Dr. went down to 1 health, though. That's kind of crazy.
Well, when your Rel has level 6 on Grub Fight and gets a 3-man Magnet Storm, and then Jin autos 1 time, that's when you wonder if the Rel was the right choice, right? When you're talking about supports, they wanted the engage. Obviously, Rel could get a lot more done in this comp later on. Duckdom a little greedy here, but Canyon doesn't have ult. He does have a ton of vision control. Now it looks like they're not going to commit too low on the health bars ruler.
It was also a Steel Caps Jin. Like his only item was Steel Caps.
So this whole fight to me is about the fact that
Perfect is dead.
Okay, well that issue with the Gwen getting ahead, we kind of checked that box here for the Gen.G composition.
Yeah.
And like white it out maybe out of the KT win cons and pretend it's not real. Maybe there's another win con they can find for this gen. Okay.
Yep. Snare is not going to connect, as Duro was looking for an angle with Chovy, but not going to quite find it there.
This is going to be one of those games where Gen.G's macro outpaces the color commentary and the replays, isn't it? You know, where I'm like, okay, let me explain this last fight. Oh, never mind, we're moving on to the next one.
Yep, let's explain this fight.
Duro is a little ahead of the curve here in terms of his disguise, but he's still tricks perfect, and that's that.
Yep.
I'm
glad we got the replay.
The last fight was more interesting to me because Cuz wanted to hold his smite. I wanted to actually get the first grub without smiting, and then Canyon queued in and stole it from him, and then he was out of position because they wanted to then contest with his smite. So you get the first grub without smite, contest with smite with the Rel ultimate, and then they lost the fight. Gen.G were faster on the play, and that's like what really went down in that first fight on the grubs where they lost it. And then Gen.G get a free kill, and Ruler gonna get a third of Duckdom, nearly half of Duckdom's health bar here in this exchange.
Yeah, let's not do 4th bullets when there's a fast bomb available. Let's just not do that, I guess. Maybe that's not going to be a thing that you're allowed to do.
Don't think so.
Yeah, Duckdom does at least now have his serrated Dirk, so he does do a bit more damage. But still not feeling fantastic. 2,000 gold the lead here for Gen.G. There's Canyon just wandering around the lane. They do manage to spot out this ward. They will be able to clear it. And 22 seconds until this Ocean Drake.
Yeah.
Fox is not working today.
No, he's off.
So, and we've been inundated by Chemtech Souls.
We have had a lot. We've had a lot of Hextech Souls as well.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be a Hextech Soul this game, so it feels like it's Chemtech Soul, yeah?
It's like Tech Week. It's Tech Week here.
Yeah.
The LCK, I guess. As Canyon is going to start this one up, we will be able to see which tech we're going to get. Well, it's actually only Chemtech is possible.
I would love to see a Tech Crunch article about the prevalence of Chemtech Souls in the LCK this year, and across multiple years. Like, I can see the headline now, like, have there been just one too many Chemtech Souls in the LCK?
What's the deal with Chemtech Souls in the LCK?
We collaborated with Tech Foundry.
Oh my god, Wolf.
And it's Chemtech Soul, by the way. Yeah, we already knew this, but just to show you guys factually that it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tech Week. We're celebrating Tech Week, and so really, really glad that you could all make it out. Hope your lanyards aren't too tight.
So this bottom lane here, Duckdom can't get to the turret to farm. Like, plates are going down. The Gwen is denying farm on the top side, not crashing that in, so Perfect is not going to get money there. And so a 1-kill Gwen has a 1.1k gold lead. And yeah, it's a Gen.G game, isn't it?
It is feeling pretty Gen.G gaming.
So it may look like right now, let's say at 12, 40, a 2.5k gold lead, 2.6k gold lead here for Gen.G.
Yeah.
There are 3 kills to 1, but maybe KT could upset the Atlas.
Look, it ain't over till it's over, right? And it's not. It's still quite early days.
Yeah.
Looking for some plates to go down.
Plates
and
are
things
still
like
up.
that.
Yeah.
There's 0 turrets taken around the rift. You know, we haven't exploded the map or anything, and there is going to be in 2 minutes' time a Rift Herald to fight around. Maybe that's going to be the theory. As yeah, Dr. Arm has given up on trying to shoot Ruler with 4th bullets.
He's like, the turret's still perforated, man. I'm just gonna get one more tick.
Yeah, he's walking after him. It's a little bit scary. Okay. Sometimes you throw a captive audience at them as there's the flash as BDD comes in. He flashes on over. Ruler just gets out of the way though. And so now BDD, it's all a bit dark. That deadly flourish was so sick, but the Mega Cone is just going to keep Ruler alive. And I guess he just never really was in any trouble. It's once again Perfect is dead. He is going to dash a bunch, but the scissors is still there.
By the way, Chovy is landing into a rel. Like, Chovy had Weaver's Wall and could have impacted the play up their top side if he wanted to, or could have come down and tried to catch BDD and win that. He ends up just taking a plate in mid, and there's just no farm picked up here for KT as BDD flashes, misses the root, as it's a dodge from Ruler at the same time, you know, tomato, tomato, whatever, but he doesn't get it. He uses his flash, uses his Realm Warp. They don't get the kill. They get both summoners on a Corki who has Valkyrie, and this Ambessa is no longer in the game, and now the Jhin is probably not going to be able to do a whole lot in this one. It's not about Duckdom's individual performances, although some of the trades he took against Ruler we raised our eyebrows at.
I mean, I think it's his Jin's been fine.
Yeah, it's like Duro, who's ruining Perfect's life as well. It's not even like Perfect lost lane to Keen. Duro tricked him as a minion in the bottom lane, has a really cool blast cone engage to your top side, and catches him there. And I mean, now it's 1.1k becomes 1.8k here for Keen as a Riftmaker. Yeah, and Chovy's just Chovying, you know?
Yeah, the Gwen is really becoming a problem, if she wasn't already. And now it's a 4,000 gold lead. Like, it's just not, it's not fair. It's not allowed. Why is it a 4,000 gold lead? Why is it a 4,000? I mean, they got first turret, and they have just taken all of the things that they would like. Rift Herald might go over to KT here, but, I mean, what's the cost? Every single time, Gen.G just taking so much more here.
Yeah, and like, they considered a contest here, but Duro does not have his ultimate. He will actually in 8 seconds. He really wants to make something happen, but they're not here on time. Like, Chovy also had Weaver's Wall. The fact that this Herald take seemed like it was a freebie, and Gen.G were like, I'm not sure. Maybe we could actually get that too. Because here's that Weaver's Wall.
Yep, it is going to come through just to try and take down this turret. And that should be working out here as Duckdown does walk up. Cuz is moving in as well. Deadly Flourish doesn't find the mark. That's a fantastic Tangle Barbs. That will be able to lock down this turret. Duro is getting my POM so far, if it isn't just, you know, Keen for being massive.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a Duro angle so far.
Looking pretty good. 100% everything contribution, by the way.
If you just tuned in and you didn't see why Duro's 1-1 and 3, but you saw a 2k gold lead for Keen and a 40 CS lead of 0 versus 0-2, you're like, oh man, it's Keen, but no, it's not.
Oh no, the bullying of Perfect has continued. This is just emotional warfare here. I mean, as Perfect is just not allowed to play the game.
T1 employed this strategy at the road to MSI, which was kill Perfect and you win the game. But in this game, I feel like more than a series, more than Perfect's individual performance, right? It's like he got caught by Duro twice, and then the third time they just grouped and killed him. And the Ambessa, like we talked about at the very beginning of the game, like you talked about before the game even opened, it's like, this Ambessa is so important to the comp. It needs to function so that the Jhin can function. And now it's a paperweight in this game, and it's unfortunate that scissors counter paper as well. I guess a paperweight's not paper, but maybe
paperweight sounds more like a rock.
Yeah, maybe maybe in this case, Keen is the paperweight, and the paper can't
Ambessa
move?
is the scissors?
I don't know, Atlas. Like the paper can't move.
No, I think what happened was, and this is just an unfortunate mistake, you know, is Perfect asked for a paperweight, and whoever was listening only heard the first half and just gave him paper. And then he took paper into the fight against scissors, and we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
It's a clerical error.
It could happen.
And hopefully, you know, if we can't chrono break it, we can address it in the next game.
Have you considered that scissors could also be used as a temporary paperweight? Like, it's heavy enough to keep the paper down. In most cases.
That's a really good point. And theoretically as well, if you did crush paper enough, you could make it heavy enough to be a paperweight itself.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that that's the paper that they were offered. Wow, this tangent has really gone very, very far.
Not much has happened except KT got a Chemtech Dragon.
They did get some money.
Objective bounty available.
As Wei is just here. He is amongst it. As Chovy's going to come on over, doesn't get the shove. Wei's able to walk it off.
Yeah, Chovy doesn't flash for that or anything because he's like, I don't know, Wei is just here for some reason. I don't trust that. I don't like that.
Yeah, flashing would have been odd.
You know, I don't think there's anything he did. He fishes for it, but he's like, nah, whatever. You can take vision for just a second.
Ruler just soaking the deadly flourish so that the cannon doesn't get picked up.
All right, I see an image that may have been generated.
Cursed.
I don't know, but it's got
just paper with a rock on it with scissors on top of the rock, like all 3 of them at once.
Yeah.
That's not even a game anymore. That's just cheating.
I mean, the next thing they should put up on the prompter is like paper with Wayne the Rock Johnson on top of it. And Keen on top of Wayne the Rock Johnson, and then it's like, that's where Perfect is.
Yeah, watching him do arts and crafts. It's all right. Public execution comes through. Perfect actually getting involved for once as Keen will get a taste of Perfect's medicine. And it doesn't feel fantastic. That's PDD getting another kill for himself at the same time. But
that's
in the meantime, yeah, Chovy is also picking up an inner turret.
Canyon is going to catch Duckers.
Never mind.
Canyon going to catch Duckers?
Oh, no. You were so good. You were so good. Okay. He's going to be spotted. It's fine.
Woo! Canyon's going to catch Duckers?
Okay, he is going to catch him. He thought that he was safe. Does flash out of the way, though, and now the rest of KT have made their way over. The curtains have been called as Canyon gets that bullet to the face.
Okay.
And Wei misses a cannon, but that's fine. Last shot goes towards Ruler, and honestly, Dr. is playing incredibly well.
Yeah, he played that so safely. There were like 7 different times where if he's like, nah, I guess I'm safe, when he walks forward, this is just a disaster. He still survives through the Weaver's Wall engage. Now this, also here, is set up by Gen.G, right? Perfect, though, knows his teammates are nearby. And he has a really nice engage here. The follow-up is there. BDD gets here. They get the shutdown onto Keen, which is a lot of money into BDD's pockets. Zero is able to get out. And then here, Weaver's Wall comes first. As Dr.'s playing it too well, and Chovy's like, let's give him no space to work with here, but his flash timing on that shove, he gets behind the pillar, safety pillar, and then gets the shot there onto Canyon is immaculate. It's all these small wins, though, for KT. Feel like drops in a bucket, but if they keep getting more and more drops, potentially it could fill as the fans are elated because it's the first good news back-to-back here that KT has had all game. Still a 4K deficit.
I mean, they're holding on to a 4K deficit, though, because that 4K deficit felt like it was there at 7 minutes into the game. It is now 20 minutes. If that hasn't gone up, that can only mean good things.
Yeah, we're definitely in the right direction.
Yeah, all bad things, but like mainly, like it's better than if it had have gone up.
A gold graph that flatlines is a good thing for the team that's behind.
Yeah, absolutely. As Otacon is not often a good thing for the team that's behind, as Tanglebob's just barely missing. That was actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, I don't think they could do this because Chovy's about to have his Weaver's Wall back, and he can get here really quickly. I mean, Ruler almost has 2 items, he just hasn't transformed because he got it so fast. And they are looking to come over here for the contest, and it's going to take some real fancy angles from Perfect, I think, to win this fight. He's just not even committing in. Yeah, they're going to leave.
Splitter as Crashdown does get way out of there. Chovy going to find the shove, though, and oh no, the Rel is just being caught out, and we'll just be eating for breakfast. Keen coming on over trying to kill this ward. Perfect is just teleported in, but it's a 4v5. Realm Warp to try and get KT out of there. They do, all 4 of them make it to relative safety, take a phosphorus bomb, but this is just going to be them giving over the Otacon. There's no good news.
I think the problem for KT in this moment is Stucktom will try to annoy them.
If this steal comes through, that would be funny.
It won't happen. But I think the problem for KT on the initial setup is if you don't get anything out of it, you kind of have to stay because otherwise you just give it over. But look at where Perfect is on the minimap. I want everyone to see. Like, he hasn't TP'd in. He's straight up in mid lane. And then Chovy gets his Weaver's Wall back. You didn't have an advantage enough, KT, to start this one up and look for a tricky play without your Mbessa. And now they're like, well, we have to stay here. We can play through Realm Warp.
Well, I mean, if Perfect just had have not teleported, he could have maybe got some damage on the outer turret in mid lane. Like, they were never getting this Otacon 4v5. It was just a missed opportunity. But now Duro is taking a little bit of damage here. Wei coming on over with that Shattering Strike, but Shape Splitter is one heck of an ability. Deadly Flourish not going to be helping Dr. lock down that kill. So Otacon in pocket here for Gen.G, but there is a soul point opportunity for KT if they do manage to get over and take this Chemtech Dragon, which is now up and available, and they do have control of the area. Duro trying to get himself out. The flash forward from BDD to try and lock him down. Public execution is enough to finish him off, and now Keen is in amongst it, and maybe that's the way he likes it. Down goes Way, and now the cease and desist comes through, cuz ain't tanking anything, as at least BDD gets one back on the back end of that play, but still, they're not taking a Dragon off this one, and it is just BDD against the world.
He's going to get Weaver's walled in.
Here's the world, by the way.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of rocks.
And there you have it, BDD's first death of the game. And I think this may be really the final nail. So Duro's on this flank angle, right? The rest of his team is trying to collapse. This is a really greedy angle from Duro, and it's somewhat predictable. I think this is a really good read from KT. They have so much vision, actually, in this area that they know no one can peel for them. The problem is the wallets are pretty heavy, and that's an extremely fed Gwen that you just fought into a choke point for. So it doesn't work out in the follow-up after the kill Duro, but if it was an even game state, I think that would have looked really good.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
But it wasn't, and
no.
he is flashless and damages.
And the engage options from Gen.G as well, if there is an overextension like this, especially when Keen is so fed. Like, look at this, there's 4 people.
And he has
4
W,
people.
so he just missed and like takes not even like 10% of his health bar, it feels like.
Yeah, he was just like, I think I'm fine. And he was. So Keen, like, this is what happens when you have a Gwen that's 2,600 gold ahead.
Yeah.
They did manage to gank him that one time. That was cool.
Like, he has upgraded steel caps and a arm guard in inventory, so he has a lot of armor on top of the resistance he's going to get from his mist. And the fact that he has Riftmaker. Only one Chemtech Dragon worth of extra healing.
Way was looking for something. He still is. The full wraparound, but it hasn't really worked out.
He just wanted to hang out with our boy Pool Bay up there real quick, and
yeah. All right, there's a seismic shove. Perfect going to lose half of his health bar just from that alone. Deadly Flourish is going to be the answer here, though, as now Cuz is going to turn up. Pop Blossom going wide, does get the flash out as a cease and desist from Canyon. Looks almost suicidal, but Keen makes his way in, and BDD is getting cut down, but loads of flashes going to be utilized. The Talia has fallen, and Keen now frontlining, but no one else is there to help out, and KT! They just take both solo laners with no response from Gen.G.
Yeah, Gen.G trying to, I think, really break the rules of League of Legends a little bit in that fight. That engage from Canyon looked like maybe it was going to be saved there by Keen, but then he has to go in. The rest of the team can't follow up.
He doesn't even have his Rabadons yet.
No, he doesn't. But with all these kills that he's been fed over, he's got to be getting very close. That's going to be a big spike of damage, and otherwise a very safe build for this Rise. It's going to be a huge, huge spike for him when he does complete it. And, I mean, Gen.G kind of dropped the ball here at a critical moment with Baron up. Toby does not have TP. Canyon is alive here with Smite, of course, on this buy, but it's a one-way ticket if he is going to steal. Gen.G have to somehow poke through this, but I think this is just gone.
Well, let's see whether they can actually get in there and make this one a 50-50, because Ruler's got a lot of poke. The turn is going to come through. The pillar is fantastic. Way finding some CC. As now, Perfect trying to get himself out of there. Ruler is just doing so much damage. Way is dead as an afterthought, and KT, yeah, an optimistic Baron.
I actually thought the Baron take was okay, but you either have to burn it and commit or turn faster, and Way's positioning on the turn was not there. He didn't have his ult because he used it in the last fight. So he was kind of on the top of the Baron there that didn't get a crash down. The turn was really awkward. And then Chovy shows up. Like, if you're just a little bit faster before that Talia shows up, maybe you could do it, but like, watch this again, or we're going to go back to this play here, which is pretty absurd. It's a heavy commitment onto Perfect, and then Canyon takes a lot of damage, gets rooted here. Duckdom, again, having a great performance on this Jhin despite the game state. BD's on this flank angle. They use him to try to taxi Canyon out, and that's where TP comes through for Keen. Top side of the fight, of course, completely a wash here for Gen.G, and then Keen's like, all right, I did it once, I'll do it again. Not quite enough resistances this time.
Yeah, Gen.G, off the back of this, will be able to pick themselves up the Baron. And so, yeah, the good news for KT is swiftly eradicated. The Realm Warp there from BDD was actually so cute around this this last fight. Getting out of the way of Keen, gets back underneath the turret. Already got a bunch of flashes out, as you can see. Rulers and Chovies both on cooldown. Keen's going to be the next one up and available. Duckdom at least has his, and so does BDD. So KT right now with a few more summoner options, I guess. if there is going to be a fight. But the problem is there is now a Baron, and there is just like it's an 8,000 gold lead. This is the problem. Like you give them anything, and it's like, oh, whoopsies, we now have an extra 3,000 gold. It's not like some teams, they win a skirmish or a fight, and it's like they barely move the needle. If you lose a fight to Gen.G, it's almost like you can't ever play the game again.
Yeah, it feels like that from minute one, you know? You give them an edge in any lane, and then just play through it like Duro did in the top lane, right? And the top matchup, I should say, because his first play was bottom side, but you guys know what I mean. He shut Perfect out of the game. Perfect still has had some impactful plays because he still is Ambessa, and his ultimate still locks down a target, and BDD is quite big, does have his death cap. But I think the way that last fight went was a lot of greed from Gen.G punished, and maybe they're a little bit less greedy next time. And this time the lead is so much bigger, the wallets are even heavier, if you can imagine it, that Keen didn't have to use his arm guard. Wasn't going to be enough to save him in that last fight, so he saved it. So he still has that. We'll have his Zonias fairly soon. You have to imagine he's had that arm guard for so long.
Yeah, very soon.
And, I mean, they're just going to get this dragon for free. And for them, they're kind of just going, well, we've got all three lanes pushing. The only way we lose this game is if we try to hard push a little bit too far like we did last time. And just wait, take the dragon safely. 4-1 it a little bit with our Talia. And we probably won't get an inhib off this Baron, but our lead is so big that we just go straight to the next Baron.
Yeah, there's only 30 seconds left, so it's not likely that they're going to be able to do too much with it.
Yeah, I don't think they get anything unless KT mess this up.
Yeah, it's a pretty fresh reset, so Gen.G still wanting to try and utilize this last 20 seconds. As Duro won't be finding anyone there with the Blooming Burst. As Gen.G will be able to get this wave at least to test KT.
Chovy does have a nice angle here.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall is just going to bring them all out of the way. Seismic Shove is going to go wide, but look at that turret. Well, I mean, you can't because it's gone in an instant. Blink of an eye, and it does go down. And they just take the inhibitor turret. Now they're going to look for a turnaround, spend some of that money. They're 9,000 gold in the lead.
Well, they didn't quite get the inhibitor. They got the turret though.
There you go.
And that's the power of Talia 4-1 when you have that much control. Chovy just sits on an angle and goes, well, if they look for a fight, we turn it into a 5v2 with an 8,000 gold lead and kill them and win the game. If they don't fight, I just say, well, you guys can't even defend your turret anymore. Put the Weaver's Wall up and kill it. And, you know, if KT try to contest there haphazardly, they die, lose the game. So Gen.G really can't lose there as long as they just play it even marginally well. And it's Gen.G, our best team. That's 22-1. So
they're pretty good. They're pretty good. One thing that has been plaguing KT is farming minions. And it has continued.
Yeah.
As it's an 80 CS lead here for Keen over Perfect. Perfect has been the one that's really just struggled to last hit stuff.
I mean, he just hasn't been allowed to.
Yeah, I mean, but like this has been a case for the last 3 matches for KT. He just hasn't been able to get onto the map at the right times to be able to get farm. And I think I was trying to make excuses, right? Like he's been giving farm over to Docdom, he's been letting BDD take his lane, things like that, making sacrifices for the team. But like, look at these numbers for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, he got hard focused early and hasn't been able to pick up the slack since. And if he tries to, against a Talia side lane, he would just get collapsed on and die. Not that he could really ever get pressure. It would only be if like someone was missing in the lane that he's laning in. And unfortunately for him, like the lead that was 40 CS kind of turned into 50, 60, and it's ballooned. And then he's been joining team fights like crazy because he's trying to be the catalyst to get them back in the game instead of side laning. Yeah. But like, for example, there was that moment where he TP'd Otacon to just do nothing, where he could have gotten some of that deficit back for sure. He has a Hex Trigger, which is like the saddest thing to have into a like almost full build Gwen. It feels like, I mean, practically full build for what contemporary League of Legends looks like.
Kane decided because he hadn't broken his arm guard yet, he's like, well, I'll just build a death cap.
Yeah.
Because I've already got Zhonya's. It's just the one-time use version.
Exactly.
Not too bad at all.
He's probably like, oh, Hex Trigger, I guess I'll have to buy a Void Staff later if this game continues.
At least Perfect is now moving down to a minion wave towards that bottom side, so he's going to be collecting that. Baron's going to be up in 30 seconds time.
This is kind of
precisely what Gen.G are looking for.
Yeah, it's just kind of the MO we talked about for Gen.G. Like, see if we can get an inhibitor. Oh, can't. Oh, whatever. We'll wait for the next Baron. It's up in 20, and
I mean, they're just going to take this in a turret because there's no one here.
I don't think they should commit Chovy's ult for it, but they don't have to. And that's all they have to do now is Weaver's Wall KT away. And like, what can KT even do here? Like, they have no vision, they have no entry, and if anybody dies trying to even like jostle for position here, like jockey for position, Duck Tom's like, I can clear a wave, that's it. That's all I can do. Then they just lose the game. Like Gen.G don't do Baron, they walk down mid and end. So this is where things are basically impossible. There is no optimal play for KT here.
Oh, feels like he may have found Kane, but the seismic shove is there for Chovy. It's going to push him away. Ruler has 4 items.
Yeah, he just got that cheeky back off because they didn't start Baron right away. So he's just going to walk over here with big 4th item.
Oh, Duro, he finds both carries even after the flash. Cease and desist comes in. Down goes Doctom immediately. The Nico is going to fall, and at least they get... No, they're not going to get beat. Oh, there it is. Down he goes. A double kill for Keen as Chovy's throwing rocks around. Perfect does have to flash. As BDD gets a Void Staff from the grave that he might be able to use in game 2, because I think it's likely that this one is just over. Flash out from Cuz, and he just gets Phosphorus bombed to the face. That Infinity Edge is working real well here for Ruler as he finds a double kill. And Gen.G collect the ace, and they will win this game. And guys, it wasn't close.
It was not close, not even for a moment. There was like one hiccup on the top side, but otherwise, start to finish, Gen.G dominant. And maybe Gen.G and Arnold trying to talk to Secretary General of the LCK, be like, I think next year we might have to change the format. We have 3 groups. We have Rise group, we have Legend group, we have the Gen.G group where Gen.G just chills, takes a vacation, and we'll see when playoffs.